Hello, and welcome to Improbable Things. I'm J. Grace Pennington, and this is my podcast where I share 6 improbable thoughts before breakfast, which consists of 6 thoughts about reading, writing, or just storytelling in general. So I missed last week due to being out of town and also being sick. But I am back and I am well, and I have 6 things to share with y'all, so let's get started. So number 1, just a couple of nights ago, I finished recording the In His Image audiobook, which is so exciting. I've been meaning to do an audiobook for this one for over a decade now. And so getting the recording done on that just feels good that I pushed myself through it when I a lot of times did not feel like going over there and sitting down and taking time to record. So that is great. And then the editing on it is going really well too. Should only take me another few days to finish up the editing on it, and then I can get it uploaded to Audible, and then need to get them to fix some settings on it for me so that I can put it on YouTube. So I'm hoping that process won't take too long, but it will be what it will be. But I am hoping to go ahead and start right away as soon as I can, and start recording the Machiavellian audiobook, because I'm going to have some similar distribution issues with that one too. So I really want to get the ball rolling so we can just get that finished up, get more stuff up on YouTube for y'all. And I have a lot of audiobooks to record still, so I'm ready to get to work on that one. So number 2, I've started getting some feedback from beta readers on the book Time Stream that I need to edit soon, book 11 in my series. And I have one reader that finished the whole thing and got me feedback. It was super great. And then my brother also has, gave me a little feedback kind of just like as he started going along, which I also love. And then I haven't finished reading it to my husband yet. But what's been interesting so far is that all 3 of them agreed with some problems with the opening of the book. And I always as much as it's going to be kind of a pain to change it, I love when there's such a consensus among beta readers, because, they just came independently to the text, looked at it, and all just felt like, okay, this is a problem, here's the problem with it. And it gives me a lot of confidence to know, okay, I need to listen to them, because this is not just one person's opinion, this is an actual problem. So all 3 of them have said some version of basically that they get kind of too quick into it in the opening. Basically, when it comes to the time travel, it gets accepted too quickly. It just feels a little, I think, jarring. And so I need to probably completely rewrite the opening, which I have had to do on lots of books. And what's funny is normally I've had the opposite problem. I've had the opening that just drags on and nothing happens for too long, and I have to really condense it and get into the action sooner. So I was really proud of myself for just diving right in this time, but apparently I had pendulum swung a little bit too far. So I'm going to have to rewrite that. But honestly, I think adding more is going to be easier than, completely just taking stuff away and completely changing it. So have that I know I'll need to do, and hoping to finish reading it to my husband soon so I can kind of start making more progress on that. But anyway, I already have one thing that I know I need to change about it. Well, number 3, I need more YouTube content. Right now I have this podcast that goes up there, and then I have my How to Do It All series that I'm continuing to put up 1 video a week. But that only has a few more videos planned on it, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to get the In His Image audiobook up, so I've been kind of trying to figure out what else I can do. And I've been thinking it would be nice to do my mini reviews for books that I read last year on YouTube this year, because I used to do it on my blog, and then I put the year before last I was doing them on Kindle Vella. And now, that's not an option anymore. But so I was thinking, the YouTube is kind of my new platform that I'm focusing on. So it might be fun to do them there and to just kind of go through a few books each video, kind of basically the same exact thing I used to do on my blog, pick 4 or 5 of them and just give like really short reviews, just go over my brief thoughts about them. In the past, it's been like 1 or 2 paragraphs at most. And one thing I would really like to do is just record those at home, because while recording elsewhere has been really nice for the how to do it all videos, it is just a pain and limits how much I can do. So I won't probably be able to get quite as good quality doing them here, but I'm like, if I do them early in the morning, I think I can get enough good light in my office at home. And, you know, there's going to be, the problem is we live right next to a highway, so there's always sound, even if the house is quiet. But you know, for YouTube videos, like, it can be casual. Lots of people are way more casual than that on YouTube and do very well. So hopefully it'll be fine. I'm probably going to be experimenting with it. This week is pretty busy, but next week I want to maybe start trying to do that. So I'll keep you all updated. So number 4, last week I took my 5-year-old on a little date where we got lunch and went to my favorite used bookstore and got ice cream. And I had done that with my oldest quite a while back, and I'd been promising my 5-year-old that I would take her. And so we went, and it was such a fun time. She is very fun to be around. She's a funny, sweet girl. And it was really ended up being super fun taking her to the bookstore, because she was so thrilled. Like, just being able to see my love for books sort of just spark in her, just being there. She was like pulling so many books off the shelf, being like, Mommy, look at this one. Look at this one. Mommy, look at this one. Just like so many of them. And she would grab some book she thought was particularly interesting. And in the kids section, they have like a little table and little chairs. And so she would grab a book and just go sit at the table and start looking through it. And like, she was so enamored. Like, I was able to, because I wanted to look for some books to get for my kids to read while I was out of town last week. And so I was able to do that. I didn't even have to, like she needed nothing from me. She just wanted to look at all the books and take them to the table and look at them. And at one point she found this like enormous Star Wars book that had like detailed like diagrams of some of the starships and stuff like that. And she was like, you know, reading it and like pulling out all the like fold out pages, like so excited, like, oh, this is my girl. And I love, you know, love, and sometimes, you know, when I see myself in my kids, like, it's fun, but also sometimes there are some elements where I'm like, oh, I'm sorry about that, babe. I'm sorry to pass that on to you. But in this case, it was very positive and just so fun, and it makes me excited for her too. Because I was telling her too, she was so excited to see all the books. And I told her, once you finish learning to read, you can read any of these books you want. You can read anything. And that's going to be so fun. And I'm so excited for that process for her. So number 3, I ended up over the past like couple of weeks reading 3. Normally I'll try to like alternate fiction and nonfiction when I read. And even the fiction I read, I try to like, you know, switch it up so I'm not reading a lot of the same thing. But through various circumstances, I ended up reading 3 books in a row that were all really kind of rough, bleak, twisty thrillers. And I love a good, like, big twist, and I love a good thriller that sucks you in. And, you know, I don't necessarily mind if something, you know, especially if it's that kind of book where it's not really about the characters and loving the characters, it's about the story. So I don't necessarily mind if it's a little bleak, but 3 in a row was just like a bit much. I was like, okay, I need something a little lighter right now after this. So basically, I told y'all I was reading The Distant Hours by Kate Morton, and I read that because I had gotten it from the library a while ago and wanted to read it before it had to go back. So I had to like finish reading through that, and I didn't love the ending on that one. It fell a little bit short for me, and it was a little too bleak, but the journey was so good that I still liked the book overall, and I want to read more of her stuff. So there's that. And then this month's book club book, which we'll go have book club tomorrow, is The Silent Patient, which I had been wanting to read for a while. So I went ahead and read that one so I could make sure to have it done which now I wish I would have waited longer because it took me only like 2 days to read it, and now it was a long time ago and I'm worried I'm going to forget stuff. But anyway, read that one. Didn't love it. The twist elevated it for me. It had a really good like surprise twist near the end. And so I love that. And so that bumped it up a notch, but the journey was just kind of it. Like I didn't love the characters, didn't really find a lot of the motivations all that compelling, just never connected with it really fully. And I personally found the writing to be pretty bad. But it was fun for the twist, for sure. And I think it'll be a good discussion book for book club, so that's fine. And then a bunch of my friends decided that they wanted us to all read Daisy Darker together, because I had wanted to read that for book club and it got rejected. And so some of us were like, oh, we'll all read it together sometime, like have our own mini book club. And I was like, hey, we'll do that like someday, maybe. But then all of a sudden they all started reading it. So I was like, and they were like, let's finish it by the time, we have our little get together, that's coming up. And so it's like, oh, okay. So I, read through that one pretty quickly also. And I think that one was probably like all around sort of best of the three. I didn't have quite with the Distant Hours, there was just such a beauty to it that the others didn't have, but Daisy Darker was still well written. The twist was really good. Like I actually went through the couple days after I read it and skimmed through the whole thing again, because there were some things that my mind was so blown. I had to go back and see so how does that make sense again? Which I love that kind of thing. So that was a plus for sure. And that was fun to discuss with some friends. And so anyway, but I am definitely ready to just chill a little bit with the fiction. Let me read something pleasant and not so yikes. And without, intensely dysfunctional families. Let's just, let's take a little break from that. So I'm hoping to start something that'll be just more of a pleasant ride after this. So number 6, I've been thinking quite a bit because, like I said, we've been sick and we've been out of town, and there's just been a lot of things that make it difficult to really stay on track with a lot of the things I normally do and that I normally push myself to do. And I've talked before about motivation, and I have been feeling unmotivated, and then being sick on top of that, a few things just did not get done every day, that I wanted to get done, but didn't want it enough to push myself that much. But it was such a reminder, because there were a few things I really did keep doing. And then for example, working out, I didn't work out on the days we were out of town, and then some of the days I was sick I just did a barely anything workout. And so then this past Monday I did my normal somewhat more intense workout, 30 minutes weightlifting, HIIT workout type thing. And I was so sore the next day. And it just reminded me that I always try to remember this when I'm contemplating giving myself a break, because sometimes it's hard to stay on track with stuff. To remind myself that it's easier to continue than to restart. With any habit, it's all even if it's hard to continue, it's always going to be easier to continue than it will be to restart if you don't persevere. So that has a very obvious physical manifestation with working out, which is why it was kind of such a good reminder for me, because you don't do it, your muscles will get sore when you start up again. But it really is true with other things too. Once I get into a habit of working, doing some writing, marketing, audiobook, whatever, work-related stuff on my computer daily, sometimes it might not be the number one thing I want to do, but it's still easier to just suck it up and do it that day than it is to get back into it again if I haven't done it for a week. That's just the way it is. And so it's very helpful to remind myself of that and the same with eating healthy. And then, I kind of did take a break from that while we're on vacation, and that's fine. I think there's a place for that, but you just want to be aware. Like, you have to weigh, I guess, when you're making a decision of if you're going to take a break of something, take into your calculations that it's going to be easier to continue than to restart, and that the longer a break you take too will factor into it. So like, we were gone for like a day and a half, and I ate a bunch of sugar and stuff like that, and it wasn't that big a deal really to sort of get back into the habit of healthy eating when I got back home. But during the holidays, when I sort of tend to go off the rails a little bit more than that, more than a couple of days, it does become harder to get back on the wagon again. And so it's just something that I think is really good to think about when you're struggling. For me, when I'm struggling to persevere in something that I'm trying to maintain, to be reminded that it is, as hard as it is to continue, it's easier to continue than to restart. So hopefully that's an encouraging reminder for you if there's something that you are struggling with, a habit you're trying to build, to just remember that perseverance is worth it and is helpful. And it's always going to be harder to get back to it again once you've stopped. So, yeah. Thank you all so much for listening. I really would love to hear from anybody that has thoughts about, like I was saying, habit building, continuing versus restarting, any experiences that you've had with that. Did you like going to bookstores even as a kid? Like, do you just find books just naturally enthralling? And then if there's any like sort of bleak, twisty thrillers that you really liked, you can let me know, but I am going to wait a while before reading them. So anyway, yeah, thank you all so much for listening today. Hope that everyone has a great day and a great weekend ahead, and stay improbable. Bye.